How does a top tier scorer in one of the world's fastest growing leagues go from the spotlight to the sidelines seemingly overnight? Kennedy Carter wasn't just a promising young talent, she was a rising star with explosive offensive ability. But one moment, one decision, might have cost her everything. It wasn't just a hard foul, it was the spark that ignited a firestorm. And now, with the WNBA's training camps in full swing, Carter finds herself on the outside looking in. No contract, no team, no clear path back. But how did it come to this? Let's break it all down. It was a regular season game in June 2024 between the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever. But what happened that day would become one of the most talked about moments in recent WNBA history. Caitlin Clark, the league's most popular rookie, was jogging back on defense when Kennedy Carter suddenly veered off her path and delivered a shoulder check that sent Clark sprawling to the hardwood. At first, the refs called it a common foul, just another bump in a physical game. But once they reviewed the replay, the call was upgraded to a flagrant. The footage didn't lie. This wasn't incidental contact. Carter went out of her way, glared at Clark, and delivered the blow with unmistakable intent. This wasn't a split-second reaction. It looked calculated. The basketball world erupted. Social media exploded. Some defended Carter, calling it just part of the game. Others saw it as a blatant attempt to intimidate or worse, injure the league's new golden girl. But regardless of where fans stood, the incident had already altered Carter's path, and it wasn't the first time her actions drew headlines. This wasn't Kennedy Carter's first controversy. In 2021, while playing for the Atlanta Dream, she was suspended indefinitely for what the team called conduct detrimental to the team. That suspension followed a heated argument that reportedly escalated well beyond team norms. She was eventually traded to the Los Angeles Sparks, but her time there was rocky as well. Benched, criticized for attitude issues, and never quite settling into a consistent role, Carter's potential was often overshadowed by headlines. Some fans still saw the talent, the spark, the ability to take over a game, but coaches and front office executives started seeing something different. A high-risk player with potential to destabilize locker room chemistry. Fast forward to her time with the Chicago Sky, her last WNBA team to date, and you have a pattern that teams can't ignore. Brilliant on offense, unpredictable off the court. For a league that's growing in visibility and corporate backing, image matters more than ever. A player's marketability now carries as much weight as their stats. In one infamous practice session, sources close to the team reported Carter got into a verbal altercation with a teammate that almost escalated into a physical confrontation. Team leaders had to intervene, and the mood in the locker room reportedly never recovered. The aftermath of the Clark incident was swift and brutal. Commentators didn't hold back. Pundits called it unsportsmanlike. Fans demanded accountability. The WNBA fined not only Carter's team, but also rookie Angel Reese for media noncompliance, showing just how seriously the league was taking the fallout. And the public? They were relentless. TikTok compilations of the foul went viral. Hashtags demanding Carter be suspended or released trended on X and Instagram. Athletes from other leagues chimed in, some defending Clark, others criticizing Carter's judgment. Even former players weighed in. A retired WNBA veteran tweeted, "We fought so hard for this league to be taken seriously. What happened on that court set us back." That tweet alone racked up over 100,000 likes, and it reflected the sentiment from many inside and outside the sport. Carter for a time remained silent, and in that silence, the narrative grew louder, that she was unrepentant, that she hadn't learned, that she might not belong in a league now determined to clean up its image. Months after the incident, Carter finally spoke out, not through a press conference or formal statement, but in a casual interview with popular streamer N3On. Her explanation? That it was just part of basketball, a little tap, nothing serious, but fans weren't buying it. Video evidence clearly contradicted her claims. She even added a new twist, saying she might have been elbowed beforehand, a detail never mentioned before and not seen in any footage. The response was overwhelmingly negative. Viewers saw it as damage control. Too little, too late. What really bothered people wasn't just the denial, it was the attitude. Carter laughed off the play, downplayed the impact, and even suggested Clark may have exaggerated. Her tone wasn't remorseful, it was dismissive, and that's where things got worse. In that same interview, Carter drew comparisons between her and other male players who've been involved in controversial plays, almost as if to justify her actions. I mean, look at what Jeff Teague did to LeBron, she said casually, but the league and the public didn't see the parallel. They saw the WNBA is in a new era. Record-breaking attendance, massive TV deals, and an explosion of fan interest driven largely by Clark's arrival have pushed the league into mainstream conversations. With that growth comes a new standard: professionalism, marketability, and accountability. Carter's actions, and more importantly, her reaction afterward, stood in direct contrast to what the league is now promoting. And with all 12 teams finalizing rosters, Carter remains unsigned. No rumors, no workouts, no invites, just silence. For the WNBA, the message is clear: behavior matters. Teams aren't just evaluating stats, they're evaluating character. And if your presence brings more chaos than chemistry, your career can vanish overnight. Behind the scenes, league insiders have hinted at discussions about implementing stricter player conduct policies. "This incident has lit a fire under our operations team," said one anonymous source. "The league cannot afford bad headlines right now." Clark hasn't just raised the WNBA's profile, she's redefining it. Her jersey sales top the charts. Her highlight reels go viral. Her presence sells out arenas. And her response to the Carter incident? Grace under pressure. No theatrics, no retaliation, just poise. While Carter found herself trending for controversy, Clark trended for scoring milestones and game-winning shots. She became the face of the league's next chapter, one built on accessibility, excitement, and sportsmanship. In a way, Carter's clash with Clark only highlighted the league's shift. One player seen as the future, the other now viewed as a cautionary tale, and that contrast couldn't be more stark. Even more telling is how Clark handled the media afterward. Not a single complaint, no jabs, no blame, just a quiet confidence. That approach didn't just win her fans, it won her the league's trust. Sponsors love her, executives praise her, and her teammates follow her lead. Carter's talents were never in doubt. She's a gifted scorer, averaging 17.5 points per game in her prime. But as team executives quietly confirm, talent alone. The road back won't be easy. If Carter truly wants another chance, she'll have to show more than just skills. She'll need to show growth, take accountability, demonstrate leadership. Maybe overseas leagues become her proving ground. Maybe she steps away for a season and returns with renewed focus. But one thing's for sure, the WNBA's tolerance for drama has never been lower. And the league, it's not waiting. As new stars rise and new chapters unfold, Kennedy Carter's window is closing fast. There's still time, but not much. One interview, one workout, one moment of true humility could change everything. But until that happens, she remains the biggest what if in the league. Kennedy Carter's story isn't over, but it's at a critical crossroads. She can still rebuild, still rewrite the narrative, but it's going to take more than words. It's going to take actions, consistency, humility. Meanwhile, the league marches forward. New stars rise, fans flock to arenas, and Carter, once a top prospect, now watches from the sidelines. Talent gets you noticed. Character keeps you in the game. Let us know in the comments. Do you think Carter deserves another shot, or has she burned too many bridges? Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next.